Next on the Rockbridge Report, the Wuhan coronavirus is beginning to spread across the nation. We'll tell you what U.S. officials are doing to stop the spread and keep people safe. And Rockbridge County is getting 2 new hotels. We'll tell you when those are opening and how they could affect the local economy. Is springtime finally here? Avalon will show you the forecast to let you know if it's time to put away your winter coat for a while. And later in the newscast, we'll introduce you to a local barber who loves the art of cutting hair. All that and more, next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Good evening, I'm Lila Kimball.
And I'm Jack Jaris. Democratic presidential candidate Senator Elizabeth Warren officially ended her campaign today.
I will not be running for president in 2020, but I guarantee I will stay in the fight for the hardworking folks across this country who've gotten the short end of the stick over and over.
This announcement comes after a disappointing finish in the Super Tuesday states, including finishing 3rd in her home state of Massachusetts and here in Virginia. She has not made an endorsement for any of the remaining candidates. The fallout continues after a Super Tuesday that saw a sweeping comeback for former President Joe Biden. James Laverty reports Rockbridge area voters were part of the national trend.
Many Lexington Democratic voters had one thing in common when they went to the polls on Tuesday. They want to defeat Donald Trump in November. Former Vice President Joe Biden picked up a commanding victory in Virginia's primary on Super Tuesday. He won 53% of the vote to Senator Bernie Sanders' 23%. Senator Elizabeth Warren and former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg finished with 10% each. The results in Lexington, Rockbridge County, and Buena Vista closely reflected statewide totals. Just a week ago, Sanders was the favorite to win the Democratic nomination. But across the nation and in states like Virginia, the question of electability propelled Biden back to the front of the race.
Moderate Democrats and moderate Republicans will be happy to vote for him, and they won't be as happy to vote for Bernie.
Voters worry that Sanders can't win.
I think a Bernie nomination will hand the election to Trump.
Biden now has about a 65 delegate lead over Sanders. Voter Francis Bush says the nominee will need his opponent's supporters to win the general.
He's got to unify the Democrats first and foremost, and he has to reach out to moderates who are concerned about the economy.
It's a two-man race now that Bloomberg and Warren have dropped out. Bloomberg endorsed Biden.
I think President Trump now faces 2 of his probably most feared contenders.
Alexander says the economy will determine whether Trump gets another 4 years in the White House.
If the economy stays strong, Trump is in a great position to become reelected. If the economy weakens, he's at risk. So maybe the biggest threat, Trump, that's emerged in the past 2 weeks is not what's happening in the Democratic primary, but it's the coronavirus. If the coronavirus continues to negatively affect the economy, then President Trump may have more to worry about than who the Democrats nominate.
Biden currently has 603 delegates, while Sanders has 538. The next 6 states will vote on Tuesday, where 352 delegates will be up for grabs. The one to watch is Michigan, where Sanders won in 2016, but Biden is currently leading in the polls. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm James Laverty.
The Wuhan coronavirus continues to spread throughout the world. There have been over 90,000 confirmed cases worldwide and 162 cases in the U.S. across 18 states. U.S. officials are starting to rapidly send testing kits nationwide, but some have criticized the move as being made too slowly. CNN's Brian Todd has the story.
The vice president with reassuring words for the American public tonight about the bottleneck of testing in the U.S. for coronavirus.
Now, all state laboratories, all university laboratories at the state level can conduct coronavirus tests.
Mike Pence also says thousands more testing kits are being sent out. But there's been controversy over how top officials have handled testing for the virus in the U.S. up to this point. They've been criticized for being too slow to roll out testing kits, for being too strict about who could be tested, and not making tests available widely enough.
Right now, we can only test about 100 samples per day. We want to get that up to 1,000 samples per day.
Kim Fry was worried after numerous cases were reported in the nursing home near Seattle where she visited her mother. She wanted to be tested.
The answer was no, you had to fit these certain criteria in order to get that test.
Today, a reversal. She was told to report for testing. Officials say the narrow criteria to get tested have been opened up, and test kit production is up. But not everyone can be tested.
There aren't enough resources to do it every single emergency room in every single center.
But the government is planning to test for anyone with symptoms in 6 cities for starters.
When people present with symptoms that look like they might be coronavirus, even though they have no connection with anybody who has coronavirus, they didn't travel anywhere, and test them.
Public health officials say now that coronavirus tests are expanding, officials will be able to get a better read on just how bad the outbreak is in America.
We will see exactly how widespread now coronavirus is in the United States. Is it just focal here and there and a little bit of spread here and there, or suddenly is it revealed that we have widespread coronavirus infection? I think the next week and a half or 2 weeks will tell the tale.
Is America paying too costly a price now for those testing delays and other problems?
It would be great to have had it sooner. Whether or not that's going to affect the health of the public overall is going to be a question that's impossible to answer.
Meanwhile, mass gatherings, museums, and theme parks across the globe are feeling the effects of coronavirus. Asia's Disney-themed parks have closed. Paris's famed Louvre Museum closed temporarily and reopened Wednesday. Olympic officials are trying to tamp down speculation that the Summer Games in Tokyo could be canceled or postponed.
There's concern about mass gatherings because it puts people in close proximity to each other. And as we don't know entirely if people are transmitting the virus asymptomatically, that naturally common sense tells you it puts you at higher risk.
2, 1, go.
There are no confirmed cases of the virus in Virginia, but one confirmed case in neighboring North Carolina on Tuesday. Tennessee is still in a state of emergency after the deadliest day of tornadoes in 7 years. At least 24 people are dead and neighborhoods are leveled. Camilla Bernal has the latest with how people are rallying to help one another.
There have been a lot of people helping out them, a lot of strangers, people I've never met before.
Kindness of strangers shining through the darkest of times for the people who have lost everything.
Like, what do? You're just coming by to...
Coming to help, yeah.
Do you know Alex?
No, just going where help is needed.
After a lethal and powerful tornado struck in the middle of the night, the deadliest day of tornadoes in 7 years.
We got our daughter out of bed and we went down to the basement and we made it with like 30 seconds to spare, and it hit like a freight train.
Officials are now working to piece together an accurate picture of the deadly trail of devastation left behind.
We will have law enforcement and first responders there tonight on the scene, working around the clock.
At least 2 powerful tornadoes touched down Monday night into Tuesday morning. The one in the East Nashville area was an EF3, and it was a powerful EF4 tornado packing 175-mile-per-hour winds that leveled neighborhoods in Putnam County.
I don't think we would have, not all of us would have survived if we had been upstairs still.
In Putnam County, Tennessee, I'm Camilla Bernal reporting.
Thousands of migrants and refugees are trying to cross into the Greece and the European Union from Turkey. However, border guards are preventing people from crossing over and reports of violence are increasing. Turkey has announced today it will deploy 1,000 police special forces along the border to protect against the Greek guards. Turkey opened its borders with Greece in late February in response to the 50 Turkish soldiers killed in northern Syria.
With only 2 days left in the Virginia General Assembly session in Richmond, on Wednesday, the Virginia Senate approved a bill that would restore state regulatory oversight over how electric utilities can write off certain costs. This was over the objection of political influencer Dominion Energy, and the first time in recent memory that the energy company lost a floor vote in the Senate. The defeat was only temporary as the Senate quickly voted to reconsider and put off a final decision, but supporters are confident the measure will eventually pass with minor changes. And in local news, 2 hotels are coming to Rockbridge. A Residence Inn by Marriott will be off Route 60 heading towards Buena Vista, and a True by Hilton will be on Econo Lane off the Interstate 81 exit. The new hotels will help the demand of busy weekends at local universities as well as the Virginia Horse Center.
Rockbridge is unique, with the 8164 coming together in Rockbridge County. It's a pile of traffic there, about 50,000 cars daily on 81. The two other unique factors is, of course, the Virginia Horse Center and Washington, Lee, and VMI. So all those four things together, we hope that they're both sustainable projects.
Sladen said there's no definite timetable for the construction of the two hotels, but Umesh Gandhi, who will own the True by Hilton, said he expects the hotel to open in 2021. Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report, our Isaac Thompson will tell you why the popular Hoofbeats Therapeutic Riding Center is making a big location change.
We've had quite a bit of sun the past few days, but will this weather continue? Tune into the Rockbridge Report tonight to find out more.
And later in the newscast, we'll tell you how Twitter is looking to get into the popular trend of disappearing content with a feature called Fleets. Hoofbeats Therapeutic Riding Center has been serving students with all types of disabilities at the Virginia Horse Center since 2007. Late last year, the center's executive director decided it was time for a change, as Isaac Thompson reports.
My board members.
Carol Branscombe loves horses. She loves enlisting horses to help her help people through the Hoofbeats Therapeutic Riding Center. The program operated out of the Virginia Horse Center since 2007. An employee's illness prompted her to think long and hard about change and where the center would thrive.
And I heard myself say it at the same time that they heard me say it. I want to go home. I want to take the program home.
That was 9 weeks ago. The center's board of directors unanimously agreed to move the program to Branscombe's farm in Fairfield.
So we went from, the horse center to here.
Hoofbeats offers therapeutic horseback riding to adults and children.
So we work with people who have physical issues, mental problems. 77% of our population has a mental component to their disability, emotional problems, social problems, and spiritual problems.
Hoofbeats usually has 3 sessions throughout the year. The spring session begins in April.
Well, in the spring, I have a lot of new students that show up, and so we work on the mechanics of the horse, how to be safe with the horse, how to walk, how to trot, maybe canter. So they learn how the mechanics work.
The teachers of Hoofbeats include Galilee, Oliver, and Zebby. Belle Cochran is a student at Hoofbeats. Her mother, Becky, says the program helped her daughter be more empathetic and brought her out of her shell. For Branscombe, Hoofbeats is more than just a riding center.
This is what God has given me as a gift. This understanding of horses and this love of horses and the natural world and the organic.
Branscombe thinks the size of the farm is exactly what Hoofbeats needs.
I love this place even though it's little, because I feel like it's healing. It feels good here. I think the animals reflect that. So
Branscombe says relocating to her farm will allow her to put an even more personal touch on Hoofbeats.
I thought it was the best thing to do. I could take care of the horses better here. I could take care of the people better here. It could be a little softer and a little bit sweeter, and we could laugh a little bit more and not work quite as hard.
Hoofbeats will hold an open house on April 11th at Branscombe's farm on Mount Atlas Road in Fairfield. She plans to have an Easter egg hunt and a tree planting. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Isaac Thompson.
Avalon, Jack, the weather has been so lovely for early March.
Yeah, it's been beautiful these past couple days. Avalon, are we getting back into flip-flop season?
I will say that we are definitely getting back into flip-flop season. In fact, right now we are live in downtown Lexington, and as you can tell, that it is sunny with a chance of clouds right now. But thankfully, this good weather is going to continue. Right now, we have a high of 53 degrees and a low of 37. Although right now it feels a little bit more like 50. The barometric pressure is sitting at a great point, so it is still going to make for a great day. The only thing we need to look out for is that wind speed, which is at 7 miles per hour. So it is still going to be a little bit chilly. So definitely keep your coat on for a few more days. Now looking at, we can see that there is not much precipitation at all hitting our area. In fact, the rain system is completely avoiding Virginia altogether. However, we will expect to have a little bit of rain come Tuesday. Now, looking at our current conditions, we can see that everyone basically is sitting in the mid to high 50s with sun and clouds basically across the board. Now looking at our 5-day forecast, we can see that on Friday we can expect it to drop down just a tiny bit with a high in the 40s and a low in the 30s. But thankfully the sun is going to come right back on Saturday, giving us a little bit of warmer weather in the 50s. But we can expect even better weather come Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, with 60s being in the highs and 40s of our lows. But Tuesday the rain is going to come back, so definitely make sure you have your raincoat on hand. That is all I have for you guys. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you, Avalon. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, the Tokyo Olympic Games are scheduled for this summer, but how will the coronavirus affect current plans? We'll give you the latest information from Olympic officials next.
And later, we'll tell you about a local barber who has found his calling, being an artist with the Clippers. Twitter is stepping into the world of disappearing content. The social network is testing a new feature called Fleets, which are posts that disappear after 24 hours. Fleets will not be able to receive retweets, likes, or public replies like normal tweets. Users will only be able to react or respond through direct messages similar to Instagram stories. This new feature is currently only available in Brazil.
We've been learning about how the coronavirus is impacting our businesses and our schools, but Colin, what do you have for us on coronavirus's impact on the world of international sports?
Well, I can tell you that sports is not immune from the coronavirus, and it could be affecting the Summer Olympics. I'm a big Summer Olympics fan, so I'll keep my fingers crossed, but there is a chance that it could cause some problems for us here. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach said the IOC Executive Board has been monitoring the virus's outbreak, but the games are still on track to take place this summer.
I can tell you that today in the meeting of the Executive Board, neither the word cancellation nor the word postponement was even mentioned. Of course, we are a responsible organization. This is why we have this joint task force, which is having regular meetings, and there we are addressing there any issues which may arise, but we are not speculating on any kind of future developments.
Bach admitted the virus has presented challenges with some of the qualifying events being canceled. Additionally, there may now be quota allocations to decide which athletes compete at the games in certain sports. We'll stay tuned on that one, folks. I know that everybody loves the Summer Olympics, so hopefully the games go smoothly and as planned. March Madness will be roaring tomorrow night at the Rockbridge County High School gym. The Wildcats season may have already ended, but cross-county rival Perry McClure will use the gym as a neutral site for the boys' state quarterfinal game against Grundy High School. In last week's regional tournament, the Blues rolled past Grayson County and Wythe County before they pulled out a dramatic 44-42 last-minute victory over Auburn High School to advance to the states. If the Blues win tomorrow, they will play in the semifinals next Tuesday at Virginia Commonwealth. That's the Blues' first state tournament appearance since 2013, so if you don't have plans for Tuesday, make sure to head over there and check them out. Both Jenny's Hoops teams fell short of their postseason expectations. The men's season ended in heartbreak. After going 12-4 in ODAC regular season play, they crashed out in the quarterfinals 84-83 against Lynchburg. Meanwhile, the women also fell 84-77 to Guilford. Sad to see how those two teams ended their season. They were a lot of fun to watch this year. Hopefully they come back strong again next year. It's not all bad for W&L athletics, though. In fact, the men's track and field team claimed their 4th straight indoor ODAC championship. Spring sports are also off and running. Both Jenny's lacrosse teams picked up wins last week, and baseball is also off to a hot start. I know, guys, they're currently 8-2. With those lacrosse scores, the men beat Mary Washington 17-6 last week, and the women beat Christopher Newport 16-5. Make sure to get outside and check out some of those teams. I know they're going to be in action all throughout the spring.
Thanks, Colin. Cutting hair can be an art. One local barber says he cuts hair by the numbers. Jackson Sharman and James Laverty have the story.
The owner of Matthew & Company's hair salon says stylists must separate themselves from one another to attract customers. Matthew Falls says success comes down to a personal touch.
It's the person that's behind the chair. It's the atmosphere of the shop. It's the people that you bring in.
Falls says no two haircuts are alike. It is a process to figure out what works for each person.
Basically, it's like building a house. You got to lay the foundation before you can build a wall.
Falls likes to start most of his haircuts from the back of a customer's head.
Once I get all this built down and do some detail work, I'll go back in with the 1.5 and just kind of taper this just a touch tighter in the very bottom.
Falls uses numbers to describe different types of haircuts. Each number corresponds with a 1/4 inch of hair that will be left from the scalp. Falls demonstrates his system on Brian Chung, a sophomore football player at Washington and Lee.
Brian gets a pretty tight fade, but we're going up a step above what we usually do. Usually it's a 1 and a 2. Well, in the fall we do a 1 and a 2. Take it in pretty tight.
Falls says it's a trial and error process. He says barbers get better as they learn what makes each client's hair unique.
There's still some things that kind of stump me and I get a little nervous in the process of doing. But yeah, fake it till you make it. Not really, but.
Falls used to work at Cindy's Salon before starting his own business last year. He says he loves being on his own, but he doesn't like the tedious side of running a business.
Being behind the chair is where I'm supposed to be.
Falls says he wants to expand his shop. He's looking to hire 2 new barbers when the fit is right. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm James Laverty.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report. Thanks for watching.
You can stay current with Rockbridge area news by logging on to rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. Have a good night, Lexington. Pretty good one there. It was nice.